My name is Bill Wheeler. I'm running for Everett City Council here in District 1 in Everett, Washington. And thank you for taking the time of your day and listening to me talk a little bit about what makes Everett special and what one of the things that I want to focus on if elected on City Council, and that is accountability. And accountability um, going back to not just auditing government sources and stuff and making sure that your money is spent appropriately, but also accountability as far as what is in the best interest of our people and what organizations have demonstrated that there might not be everything that they say they're going to be, or if there's issues that go on in our neighborhood, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, where patient zero was in fact here in Snohomish County. And we had this huge outbreak 2020, which led to us being locked down for months, years, being told by our county council that we had to wear face masks and that being endorsed, making vaccines mandatory in some instances, where literally people were losing their jobs because they refused to get vaccinated. And our city council was backing that mandate up 110%, and not one of them spoke up against it. And it totally went against the grain of everybody that was honestly a hardworking individual who did not have the time or financial means to just lounge around the house, but actually had to get out and function and work amongst other people. Which, for those of you who did go out and work and functions amongst other people, I congratulate you, because you were not part of the sheep that stayed home and listened to everything that the government was telling you after they spent billions and billions of government funded propaganda just to influence you to take a shot that is coming out that it does severely and in some cases mortally wound people that it comes in contact with. So that needs to be investigated. There needs to be accountability, and we can't have a a medical dictatorship running our city and our governments. I have nothing but respect for people in the medical field, but we cannot allow an organization such as Providence to dictate the lives of the people that live in this city. And we definitely cannot let this behavior go on in our own backyards, where we let a criminal act take place. Now, those are some tough allegations, but it hasn't been something that was looked into because they scare people into looking into it. And because you don't have anybody with the city council that will actually stand up and raise these questions. That is something that I will not only do, but I absolutely back 110% having accountability over the misappropriation of not just the COVID funds that were applied to it, and the underhanded tactics that were being employed by Providence, such as saying that they were had too many patients and not enough beds after closing half of the facility and asking for the government for more funding. That to me is fraud. That's fraud, waste, and abuse, people. So you have this major organization that makes millions of dollars a year, literally shutting half the hospital down, reducing its staff, importing nurses and stuff because a majority of them aren't going on with the fraud, or they took the mandatory vaccine, which made them sick. So they had to fly people in just so they could work. And then they had the exemptions because they weren't Washington residents. So they were okay to work because they weren't testing positive. And then you shut half the hospital down saying you don't have enough beds and you need more money. So that is part of the con. And believe believe you me, when it comes to money being funneled in from large organizations such as Providence into our Everett economy, there is a lot of greenbacks being thrown around that are supporting potential candidates that are all for big government and big pharma invading your household. So this is what's going on in District 1, where we have the Providence that has the first corona. Let that sink in. And don't forget, that happened here, and there needs to be accountability. And these numbers matter. They matter because we have residents that work at the hospital, we have residents that patron that hospital, and we deserve not only the best care for the people in our community, and we also deserve to have people that do work there within our community to be working for people that have their best interest at heart, because they are the ones putting their lives at risk when they deal with these types of situations. So, yes, I believe that our city council needs to be all over Providence and find out exactly what happened and where the money went, and actually listen to the nurses that were on the floor, because they are screaming that there's foul. They are screaming that half the hospital was shut down. They don't understand why people are being imported making twice as much as they do, while they're being sent home sick because they took a mandatory vaccine, while these people came in here and didn't have to take anything. So these are the types of issues we should be addressing. And that type of behavior hasn't stopped. It's still going on to this day. You hear about new outbreaks every day and all the contingencies going into place. There are millions and millions of dollars being dumped into this monster of a system that is hurting the local constituents. And it is literally happening in our backyard, and we are letting that happen. And the fact that nobody with the city council has stood up and spoken out against this atrocity going on to local people in the community is absolutely absurd. You have to hold people accountable no matter how much money that they donate to your platform or the sponsorships that they say they may have. The other issue, too, is gender affirming care. Is this something that they back or they endorse? Because unless if you're 18, there's no minor that should hide any medical transitioning from their parent. That is something that their parents should be fully aware of. The DEI policies that are backing up hiding this information from parents is totally preposterous. So now not only do you have a backing of the state trying to give immunity to these people who are exploiting these children, but now you have a medical technocracy right here in our backyard, taking the very essence of a child and destroying their lives before they've matured and can make an actual decision with what they should be doing with their body and the autonomy of it. That should be a discussion that happens with a parent, and under no circumstances should there be any procedure such as that done before the age of 18, when they're able to make a decision for themselves as an adult. So, and the fact that schools can sit there and hide assaults and stuff from children, and places like Providence that back up these plans and reinforce this ideal that the state is more of the mom and dad than the actual parents themselves, by removing them from the scenario completely. But yet the state is at a stance where they will not hesitate to hold parents liable if something goes south. So you can have a child live with you and do whatever they want and totally get away with it in the eyes of, you know, DEI and diversity and all these other rainbow color acronyms they got out there, and dope them full of all these hormones and permanently doing damage to them. But if you as a parent speak up against it, then all of a sudden you are the criminal, and they will come after you and take basically everything that you've worked for, um, just so your child can grow up in a completely altered state of mind and end up suffering long-term uh, disability from it, just so they could be dependent on the state. And they put the parents in very horrible situations. And it's a very, very disgusting thing that's going on with the state's involvement. And that's why government needs to be pulled back drastically. And it's the importance of why you need to pick your public servants accordingly, especially when it comes to your city councils and your mayors and things of that nature, because they're the ones that are actually voting for this. And they're the ones that petition with law enforcement to make sure that these measures are actually acted and enforced. And if you have somebody serving your district and they don't align with your moral ideology, then you're going to find yourself in a position where you are being overtaxed and you are paying for egregious things that you really do not agree with. And I don't think anybody wants that for our community. But our money, we're working and having money taken out of our paychecks to pay for this stuff. Like, I hope everybody realizes that you can disagree with this all day long, but at the end of the day, you are paying for it. So Paying for something that you do not morally agree to is unethical, and it should be highly illegal. But they keep getting away with it, and they get away with it because people keep voting for these people that do not align with them. Um, Through a certain ideology. They align with them through fan favor and lip service. And that is something that you're not going to get from me, because these are things that I will sit back and actually analyze and come up with an actual um, solution for that meets the best interest of the community. This does not meet the best interest of the community, and there has to be accountability on multiple fronts. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Trying to compact years worth of information within a few minutes doesn't really do the topic justice. But I'm pretty sure that voters are going to get the essence of where I'm coming from and my position and why there has to be accountability and how I plan on holding those accountable for. Because let's not mince words. I want to see prosecutions. If if you have people out there on the street who could do something and get thrown in prison for it, just because you work for a major organization doesn't mean that you should get away with it. Just because you work for Providence doesn't mean that you're void of any prosecution from fraud or any deferral to another government agency to take further action against you. The fact that we have people that are in these high paying positions that think they can lord over the community and make these horrible decisions and not have any kind of repercussions is a travesty. And it's gotten to this point because we keep voting for people that let it get to this point. If you vote for fraud, don't sit there and cry wolf when the fraud takes place. So, if the incident happens again and you go back into lockdowns and you don't have anybody on city council sit there and saying enough is enough. The last time you did this COVID thing, it was a load of crap, and we're not locking down. We're not putting face masks on. We're going to go by the actual science. We're going to look at the research, look at the data, and we're going to actually look at what happens or happened to people. Um, it paints a completely different story. If what you heard on the news was true, half the population would be gone. Everett would be a ghost town. People would have been just dying all over the place. You didn't have any of that. Instead, now you have a slow death of people that were actually vaccinated. And it's all coming out, it's all backed up. The numbers don't lie. Cancers are through the roof, infertility is through the roof. You basically sterilized your kids when you got them shot up. So now it's trying to figure out, how do we overcome this? Can we recuperate? Is there a way to undo what has been done? But you can't do that until you admit that something was done to you in the first place. So until you're willing to have that honest discussion, nothing's going to get resolved, or you're going to put your head in the sand and it's just going to get worse. And that's the worst part, is what I don't want to see, because our populations are already declining. We're on limited time, and it's only going to get worse if you just shove your head in the sand and let it keep happening. Because make no mistake, you got away with it once, they'll get away with it again. There's a reason why this is election year, and all of a sudden we have clean streets. All of a sudden you see cops on the road. All of a sudden you see city workers cleaning up the weeds. All of a sudden you see trash being taken out. It's because they are psychologically trying to manipulate you into thinking that everything is all good, and that they haven't been completely void of services, run the place to the ground. They let graffiti go rampant all over the place. They just let trash go everywhere, no repercussions. They let open drug use. They let people still sleep on the sidewalks. They try to clean it up, but there's so much of it, they can't get it all. I mean, you just drive down Broadway at night and you'll see people sleeping in front of stores, pissing on walls, writing all over the place, graffiti everywhere. It's it's so much that they can't even control it like they used to, because it just pops right back up. And at some point, we're going to have to pull back. And unfortunately, there. there is a point at which you try to pull back and you've let it get too bad, and um, um, we're pretty close. We're pretty close to being a little bit too bad. So hopefully it's not there. I mean the things are bad. And when I look at the other districts and you check out the spread on these other districts, it doesn't look good. You have people running that are almost all on the same platform, and I'm probably the most hardcore when it comes to actually speaking out against these people. And like I said, I'm speaking up about constitutional rights, family values, and God given freedoms. Okay. I make it very clear what my issues are. I'm not hiding any of this. So, what way are you going to go? You can hate um, certain things. I mean, you can dislike a person all you want, but at the end of the day, what are they going to do for you? I mean, there's tons of people I dislike, but I will never stop fighting for those people because they still have a right to be who they are and what they are. Um, but we're going against a group of people who don't feel that way. They feel like everything is fine, and they want to just keep voting for the taxes, voting for the increases. Like, people don't realize Olympia just voted. They are already green lit. Your tax is doubling. That's going to be on an average over $1,000 a month. So $1,200 a month on your monthly mortgage is going to be going towards just taxes. If you're a renter, that's going to be an extra $600 out of your pocket. And that's not even including their annual raises that they do on PUD, what they do on your water bill, your gas bill. It's all going up because they vote for it to go up, and they have to vote for it to go up, and they do vote for it to go up because nobody's saying no. Nobody's saying enough is enough. Nobody's saying if you guys can't spend our money appropriately, stop spending it. We're just constantly in this revolving door. And, we're paying people to be in our city, represent us, such as places, as I mentioned earlier, Providence and whatnot, that have zero accountability. They can hurt and maim people in this town, and we just roll over. And they've got people so scared of speaking out against first responders, speaking out against hospital, speaking out against teachers and their unions. They got people so scared and so shook up that you have no candidates that'll sit there and say that, you know what, this is all a load of crap. I'm tired of hearing about unions and teachers sit there and complain about how much they don't get paid. Because now you can look online and see exactly what every teacher gets paid, and they all get paid way more than I do. So I don't see the discrepancy. I don't see the poor teacher living out of a one bedroom apartment struggling. Okay, you're not gonna get that. Not here. Not when they're all making six figures a month or more. Same thing with those that work at Providence. Same thing with those that work at the fire department or the police department. They all get paid very well to do a job, and we expect when you get paid very well for good things to happen. How is it we're paying almost more taxes than any other state, but yet we have higher crime, dirtier streets, one of the lowest literacy rates in the world? Washington State is at the bottom, and we have some of the highest paid teachers. Everything is completely opposite of what they tell you. And then not only do they make it worse, but then they want more money to make it better. And it just keeps going and going and going. You're always playing cat and mouse with these people. So you can play ignorant and you can keep going along with the fraud, or you could actually vote against it. Guarantee you, uh, there's going to be no negotiating um, when it comes to raising taxes. And I got a national average sitting in front of me showing we're the lowest. That's just not going to happen because that's where the accountability comes in. And that's where everybody just sits there and stares and goes, "Okay, well, we're going to listen to you because you're the subject matter expert." Yeah, well, from somebody that has a doctorate, take my advice for it. A lot of these people that are subject matter experts are just full of crap. And if you don't question them and you don't go and look and analyze the narrative, you're never going to get to the actual truth and the heart of the matter of it. These people all want to pitch an idea, they all got something to sell you. You got to really look into this stuff. So that's my position when it comes. One of the priorities that I would look forward to if I have the honor of serving as your district representative, doing an actual inquiry into the novel coronavirus origins and exactly how uh, Providence played their part and how they were involved in it would be one of the topics that I would want to delve further into because the people in this district have a right to know what was going on under their nose and the financing involved. And not just that, but the fraudulent activity with closing wings, saying you don't have bed space. You really do have bed space, making people go from one hospital to another, locking them down. All the data was skewed, lost, accidentally destroyed. So we deserve to have answers. So thank you for listening to this. Today is 5/20, 2025. I'm Bill Wheeler. I'm running for your District 1 representative, and thank you very much for listening.